So I wanted to dive into my games from this webcam tournament. It was going to be 4 rounds. It was 12 people. Again, this is like every other week. Webcam Wars, hosted by Ninecard TCG and St00ben. Definitely give them a follow. Compete in these. Right now, there's a win-a-box series going on, winning a box of Paldea Evolved if you get enough wins. So this is round 1. I'm going first. Obviously, I could tell he's playing Gardevoir. I'm playing Arcturalodon with 1/1 Umbreon. Going first is great. I chose to cut some cards that would be good in the Guardy matchup, like a 1/1 Umbreon line. I still have the Lost Cities, and so going first, I'd imagine I'm going to be in a great spot. The opening hand is like everything you'd want and more out of Arceus. If I can recall, I think I've already got the V-Star in hand too, so it's near perfect. Webcam comes with its own difficulties. You can see the glare on his side. You can see me constantly adjusting. I recommend playing Webcam. I think it's awesome. There's some logistical, stuff. But anyway, so I remember thinking I've got a shot here with the 1 Ralts to maybe sweep him if we don't see another VIP off of this... off of the Mew celebrations. That's a Greninja down, so he has concealed cards. He hits the VIP. So I'm thinking this isn't going to go good. My list isn't the best into Guardy. I think it's fine to respect it a little less right now because Gardevoir's so destroyed by Lost Box, which is coming out in droves, 20% or so. But going first, getting the Umbreon down, I should have the tools to win. We'll see. I think I just misplay, I think, is the issue. The hand's got some evolutions, so I think it's the VMAX and the V-Star. No, it wasn't the V-Star. I'm getting confused in my rounds. But so researching away these energies really hurts. I didn't really have a choice. I like taking a Ralts, leaving him with only 2 on the board. That's something. And then my list has more boss. I've got 3 of them than like Nathan Stratford. So I'm thinking even if I can't Dark Signal up the Gardevoir EX, I can boss it later. I do have Lumineon as well. I end up needing to Starbirth to find that double turbo, as is pretty normal with Arceus. We'll see what I grab. I believe I had the Lost City in hand, or again, I'm mixing that up between rounds, but I want a Lost City, the memory skip one, just in case. Arceus only having 1 attack, it can be, mem skipped. I've got switch outs and stuff, so it probably would be a non-issue, but if I'm just picking a Ralt, I think memory skip is the better one to get rid of. So I lost on it right away. Pretty good. Remember, his hand wasn't very big. No, it definitely was. Again, I'm getting confused at the rounds. So I know this turn is going to be pretty big for him, but it ends up being insane. So he just candied into Shining Arcana. He's got the energy to pay the retreat, and then we'll see him candy for Gardevoir EX also. So pretty good. I think he's resolving an Ultra Ball for the Gardevoir EX. It ends up being just about a perfect turn for him. So I think if I had the V-Star, I would have loved to judge instead of research. Having the V-Star and the VMAX down, I think I could be perfectly fine to judge. Research plus Ultra Ball got rid of like 4 basic energies there. So, and then we can see I Novid for only 1. So right away, that's an issue. I could have accelerated my board state so far, and I think we'll see that later, that not getting those energies in play is a big issue. So that's 2 fighting in play. I've Ultra Balled and researched away at least 4. 5, 6. That should still be like 2 basics. I think 2 basics in the prizes then. I could have researched into another one. I think maybe I do have 1 in the hand. My list, I'm playing the Single Strike technology. I've got those Single Strike energies. So I'm not too concerned if I don't fully Nova all 3 on there. I've got a lot of outs to draw. Other than just those basic darks. I've got the Single Strike energies as well. So, yeah, again, his turn being so cracked, he had Candy, Shining Arcana, Candy, Guardy EX, and the Zacian V. When he first candied for Shining Arcana, I thought that was him saying, like, my hand's bad, I can't get Guardy EX for sure, I think it could be great to Shining Arcana here, but no, I was way wrong there. It's, like, about as good as it gets. So here's my misplay, I think. So he's going to hit me for 270. That's that cap for Shining Arcana if they don't play the Champions Festival. And I'm going to take the damage with Arceus V-Star. And I end up retreating, I believe. And I really think I should have stayed active here. Because not having the Umbreon later... No, I must not retreat because I don't have the energies on Umbreon VMAX. I have to Nova again. But so I'm thinking I have disrupted the board state a little. He doesn't have a bunch of Curlias, and he hasn't dug into his deck very deep. So I was kind of coping here saying, like, a Judge is got to be good, right? I'm going to kill the Shining Arcana. So he's going to get the Celebrations Mew and the Concealed cards. He's limited by what he can grab off of the Celebrations Mew, especially with, like, Fog Crystal, Level Ball. I don't think does that much. I guess Fog Crystal definitely does. He'd grabbed that Zacian, I judged it away, so Fog Crystal definitely does something. I was hoping maybe he wouldn't find the Zacian V off of the Judge. And still coming up short. By now I should have energies fully built on both my benched Pokemon, but having prized a couple and discarding all of those, 2 Novas deep, and I'm only able to have 2 basics in play. That's a real issue. With cutting the Umbreon line, yeah, I think you just need more attackers. I think I would have been fine with more attackers. There's going to be a Zacian V that comes up, and not having the Duraludon charged up, being able to take it out of you know, kill it in one shot, really hurts me. I think here I'm kind of thinking, like, I really want to boss KO the Gardevoir EX with the Umbreon VMAX, but the issue with where he's at with his board state, doing that would be bossing around the Zacian V. And if he takes 3 off of the Arc V-Star hitting the Sky Stone like he did, now he just KOs the Umbreon VMAX and I lose. So I have to deal with the Zacian, unfortunately. I Nest Ball just to thin. He did take that 3 prize knockout, so he kills Umbreon, he wins. The hand is pretty small. He hit everything he could want, but I'm hoping I can judge again. Take the KO and judge. That is dependent upon the energy situation. I recall getting the attack here, though, so I think I have the single strike in hand, or I'm going to have to research into it. I don't know where the misplay was then. I remember thinking perhaps I had, but I really didn't have any options. If I wanted to keep attacking, I attacked with who I could. You know, I got the turn 2 Nova, and I got the Umbreon down turn 1. That's as good as you can get. But would have loved him to. Oh, this is it. Not a misplay, I guess, but I do whiff the KO here. Umbreon falls 10 damage short. I get Choice Belt and Single Strike Energy, which allows the Umbreon VMAX to... No, I don't. I hit the double turbo. That knocks me short. So if I simply had a basic energy, I would have got the KO here and been in a great spot. As then, you know, he's got to, off of his low hand, find this whole KO, and I don't know if he could have. But yeah, because he falls short on my Umbreon VMAX. I remember there's another couple turns, so I maybe could have just won with just basic energy. So I'm not heartbroken about it. I mean, it is what it is. The opening hand and the Altar Ball, that's classic Arceus stuff. You want all those energies to hit one turn 1, but then when they're in the hand and all your only draw support's research, you got to do it to play the game. Right, I had to research for the energy. Yeah, this is the heartbreaking part. I had to research for the energy. I had Boss in hand. If I just had that energy, just one basic energy, I could have bossed Gardevoir. And he had no Ralts or Corellia in play, so he would not have been able to Guardy EX and accelerated to that Zacian. So I literally would have gone attack Guardy EX, attack Zacian, and win. So the basic energies being Ultra Balled and researched away turn 1, it cost me the game right here. Yeah, double turbo ends up heartbreaking. That's how I whiffed the KO. Just a basic energy, and I could have bossed the Guardy EX. That is what it is. We can fast forward again. So that's gonna, I mean, really wrap this game up. I whiff that KO. He ends up just killing the Umbreon VMAX with a fresh Zacian. So he does take it down. But online tournaments, my opponent actually forgot to check in. So round 1, I did get the dub. He appealed. I wasn't fighting for it or anything. I was not going to shark him over that kind of nonsense. But Ninecard, he wants to be legit, and I can respect that. You want these things. Webcam is tricky enough. You've got to run it kind of Iron Fist style. So I was able to get the dub kind of just because of that logistic part. All right, on to round 2. We're flying through, And I hit Mew, and he's going first. I don't feel great about that, but my Arc Duralist, even though I've got Umbreon, I am playing a Drapion, and 4 Stadium Bumps, so I feel pretty good. But you'll see he just passed with Mew V in the active spot, and that's it. He did play the Path. I am also stuck by that. In my hand, I do have a V-Star. I have an out to another Arceus V. I think I have 1 energy, but that's about it. So I know we're kind of both going to be dead drawing, and for all I know, he's got Vacuum in the hand. So that could be really sketchy. He attached a Fusion Strike energy to the active, so I know he's got Melioda, Elisa's, that package. I'm humming and hawing forever because I'm just unsure if I want to Nest Ball for Umbreon to establish it now, saying you're not going to kill my Arceus, or get an Arceus and have the backup, the contingency plan, should he find a way to KO this, because it's simple Vacuum and he could pop off. I end up deciding another Arceus just in case, but in retrospect, I don't think it mattered anyway, because even if he vacuums, what could that hand look like that allows him to pop off now that VIPs aren't live? You know, we don't have Quick Ball anymore, so every Ultra Ball to get those Genesects is going to be costly on the hand. So I really didn't think it mattered. Again, you can see me flip-flopping between Umbreon, Arceus, Arceus. I think I might have had an energy in the hand that's a fighting, and that ends up really being the deciding factor. It's like I couldn't even attach to Umbreon anyway. Let's just get Arceus's. Arceus is 2-shot, the Mew VMAX. They're hard to KO. I didn't love scrapping the Choice Belt, but I was a little stuck by the hand. I didn't want to lose anything else. Oh, it was a metal. Yeah. So if that was a Dark or a Double Turbo, I maybe go the Umbreon. But even a Double Turbo, it's tempting to Trinity Charge. Never mind. If it was a Double Turbo, I go on the active duh, and then I Trinity Charge to Umbreon. So he Elisa's right away. So I'm like, oh no, he didn't have Vacuum. That hand is dead. But now we can Max Miracle and begin to hit at least. And I look at my hand, and I'm not going to be able to Starbirth for a Double Turbo or anything. I just pass. I know he's going to get the Miracle, Max Miracle KO, but I'm like, at least I'm a big Arceus now. And now I don't get 2-shot, and right here's the Lost City top deck. So I'm going to be able to Starbirth. I'm thinking for a second, because I'm like, do I want to bump Path? How big of a pop-off can I expect out of him? And then that's when I start piecing together. It's like, well, Ultra Balls are expensive on the hand. VIPs aren't live. We don't have Quick Ball anymore. There's not really a combination of cards where he's going to put together a knockout. I just don't see it happening. Maybe an E-Rope KO on like a basic V, because just a Genesect could kind of start to do things. But really nothing to fear for the Arceus V. I end up grabbing, that was Starbirth for Judge and the Double Turbo. So I'm in it. I just see myself as so good. This especially, like the Judge, even though Path isn't down, again, what could those 4 cards look like? If it's an Ultra Ball, he can grab a Genesect, sure, but then he's going to get to draw 0 unless he can play, you get to draw 1, which wouldn't even be enough for another Ultra Ball. So it could be Judge, but he's not drawing cards to find it. I think I get some Ball Search here. I remember benching Drapion pretty early because I'm thinking Umbreon is a target in itself, and if he does kind of blow up a little bit, yeah, I just didn't like Umbreon being such a target. There, I'm like, I don't care if you take one of them. That's probably a misplay. Someone could correct me, but I think it'd be hard to misplay, to be honest, at this point in the game. It's obviously just going so poorly for him. New Mew VMAX, man. This is not the deck it used to be, and especially with the Fusion Strike package, he's got a lot of cards he probably wouldn't want to draw off of for turn, off of that Judge. He's doing something. I announce Nova, and I decided to check time because he's going a little slow, but I don't blame him. He's a little frustrated, I'm sure. I got that feeling. He started to take the turn, and I was like, can you put the damage for Trinity Nova, please? Because 2-shotting Mew VMAX really matters. And also, it's like he could bounce it. He could do Psychic Leap. If he does that, probably only going to be able to get 1 Mew and play at most, and then I just boss that and probably win anyway. Yeah, I'm just feeling really good at this point. Really thankful to have not prized the Umbreon, the Drapion. I've got a Dark Energy. Really not much more I could ask for. At this point, just having some attacks together, I'm relatively path-proof. I don't really care about that. Path is doing a lot more to him than me. unless he KOs the Umbreon and paths and mitigates the Drapion. But so he's got Choice Bell. He's got a Max Miracle coming for 160. That is the Genesect, so we can hit for 240, having the 2 Fusion Strike energies on. I think that's what he ends up doing here, just the attack. And I'm pretty hyped to see, you know, very little board state established. I'm going to be able to clean up this KO and leave him with no Mews. In my list, having the 3 bosses, really going to be able to take any Mew V that hits the bench, probably, especially having the research. I think I find a boss off the research as well, so I'm like feeling so good. Ultra Ball away Dura and Colress. There is the VMAX, so now I know I'm super safe, you know, get that 200 HP up to 310. I don't think I should have retreated here. I remember that feeling like a misplay. There was no need to do that. I just liked denying prizes because I felt like he's already in a tough spot. I don't want him to take a cheap knockout and draw more cards. And Umbreon VMAX, there's just no way it's going down from a... Well, there's no attack coming. That was what I should have realized, I think, is there's really no attack coming. 2 Fusion Strike energies down means you couldn't, like, Elisa's to his Genesect or something like that. Yeah, sure, I guess there's Meliota, but without a bench going, yeah, it was all around just unlikely. I was really in a great spot. Looks like the Silene or something. I think just considering a scoop, to be honest. I know he does that soon. Oh, it's which Pokemon should be Lost Sound as I hit the Lost City. In a tournament, I think anyone should definitely concede at this point. He put the UV down, that's right. He put the UV down and did nothing. I swear he scoops on this turn, but I think I have... Thought I have the boss? I might judge us. I really thought I had the boss, which just nail in the coffin seals the deal. Phone is blowing up. Yeah, I mean, if I ever bring this deck to a tournament and my Mew games go like this, I am going to be ecstatic. Yeah, research. I'm like killing it. He conceded. So we take those. So my first 2 rounds, a little cheesy, but we're feeling good on to round 3. Arcmere, he's going first. I remember thinking Arctina. Just had that on the brain. No reason to think that. Could certainly be an Arc Duraludon mirror. Then he grabs the Dura, so I'm like, okay, it's the mirror. My hand looks pretty good. I don't recall an energy. I think I was a little worried about that. I know I had draw support, but then I top decked the double turbo for turn, and I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. He hit double turbo as well, so I know I've got a Nova coming, but in my head I remember thinking, I've got the edge here because I'm able to accelerate first, I think, and as long as I can boss around that double turbo on the active, it can't hit my Duraludons. And so if you see special energy hit the board and you're a Duraludon deck, I mean, you want to not hit into that whenever you can with other Pokemon. I want to boss around it all day. That double turbo or special energy in general is like it feels so dramatic to say, a death sentence for that Pokemon in terms of like, that's going to do nothing for you in the face of Duraludon or multiple Duraludon. I'm going to make you need boss that many times. So I end up having an insane start there with Arc Dura. I play Sharon's Care, so that's why I was thinking the 2 Arceuses. This may be able to get hit into, and then I'm thinking I can pick it up. If not this one, the next one. So I'm still going to try to make him go through an Arc, a Dura, and deny that other Arceus with the Sharon's Care. I am thinking like that because I have to make up for the lost ground, as he's going to be able to do damage first. So I'm like, Sharon's can reset that damage, and then it's like I've done damage first, provided I don't play into his Sharon's or Volo. And for all I know, he could whiff the V-Star off of Judge. You know, Dura's a bit of a pile, and so I was really, really happy with the double turbo, the basics, charge, and Judge. That felt pretty good. He hits Dura VMAX. I remember him not playing another card here for a minute, and I'm like, maybe he whiffed. I believe we'll see the V-Star in just a second. I was like, no, he didn't. He must have been thinking about his Starbirth targets. It's always good to try to deduce what they grab with Starbirth. We'll see that be relevant in a minute. He was thinking about the Ultra Ball. Must not have had the V-Star. Yeah. He's going to go right in for the Starbirth, and he'll grab 2 cards face down. I'm piecing together, what does he need? He needs draw supporter for next turn or this turn. He needs an energy. He could like another basic Pokemon. Those are all things he could Starbirth for. Now, the way he Starbirths and then attaches energy, that tells me that's one of them, and then he doesn't play another Pokemon, so I really don't think he grabbed another Pokemon, and then he attacks. So since he didn't play anything else, I'm thinking he grabbed Sharon's. I think he grabbed Sharon's Care, so I want to boss around that Arceus V-Star as to avoid the Sharon's, and we'll find out in a couple turns that's exactly what happened. So I think Arceus can telegraph sometimes that they grab Sharon's, and myself as an Arceus player, I'm always trying to avoid that. I want to save it. I'm going to Starbirth for Sharon's when I'm going to use it. I don't like grabbing it beforehand because very difficult to not have that telegraphed. You typically just need to Starbirth for cards you're going to play. Otherwise, they're getting judged away. I end up not liking the hand at all. I want to go with a certain supporter, and so I just Lumineous Sign. I'm just thinking it has to be that way. I think I need to... That's right. I really want to escape rope. The way he is right now, I start thinking the hand is dead for him. He probably grabbed Sharon's. It's just 2 cards. I don't need to judge that away. I could just not play into it. I'm thinking if I can research and then Starbirth for either boss or rope, like have rope for this turn, boss for next turn, I'll be able to take care of the Dura and ignore Arceus V-Star entirely. I also play 2 single strike energies in the Choice Belt, so I'm kind of thinking there's also a line where I don't ever have to 2-hit the Arceus V-Star. I may be able to one-shot it. If I can escape rope this turn and hit his Dura with my Dura, begin to accelerate, as you can see, manually attached to the other Dura, I am 2 attachments away from a 280 plus KO if I can draw into both single strike energies. I only play 2, so that's an unlikely line, but I want to leave that open and again try to avoid hitting into that V-Star. It's good that it has a double turbo on it. It's bad that he has Sharon's. I mean, the incentive to leave it is very high. So I research off of the Starbirth. I can't quite remember what I grabbed. I wanted to grab that second Duraludon VMAX. I find out it's prized. I end up having to Starbirth for a Basic Energy. Basic Energy and E-Rope are the cards that I grab. I love E-Rope here. Again, we're going to 2-shot Duraludon. We shred through its effects. Hyperpot's rotated. There's not much I've got to fear. Duraludon can't really afford to heal. Crystal Cave doesn't do enough, so we are going to be able to 2-shot, so I'm just not concerned with it. And again, I'm really excited to leave the double turbo on the Arceus V-Star. Any double turbos used, I'm leaving those Pokemon because I'm going to make him need like 4 boss to take prizes around a Duraludon. There he gets the Sharon's. To me, this is a little bit of a con of webcam tournaments. This is my opponent I'll play for round 4, this Comfy picture. Just hopping in. And I don't blame him one bit. I mean, he's hopping in another room to see what he could potentially play against, and I definitely get that. But I don't love that. You know, I didn't get to see what he's playing yet with the Comfy picture. You'd imagine it's a Lost Zone deck. So he bossed up something to KO it. Which one was it? The Arceus V? Yeah, but he boss KO'd something. I think it was the Arceus V that he had damaged from the prior turn. That's right. Once again, I'm like, can I ignore this Arceus V-Star that he has in the active? Unfortunately, I did not hit boss off of the research, so I am going to have to hit into it, and I hate that fact. But damage is damage. It's still good, and if he Sharon's, he's not doing other supporters. It is what it is. I can only hope that if he Sharon's again, he's going to attach energies to something else. Attach double turbo back to it. So he Sharon's it up, has to promote the Duraludon, and he's still only got those Pokemon. So I'm also thinking, man, if I can judge him out of basic Pokemon, I might not have to take 6 prizes. I can just kill the Duraludon and the Arceus. I'm just really keeping an eye on if he's going to lay down this Arceus and the special energy. I start thinking here he has to attach double turbo. He simply has to. If he goes basic energy, he's going to whiff an attack and end up just losing that way. But he does attach basic energy. But still, for coming into the next turn, I'm thinking he has to attach the double turbo. Really would have liked boss here too. I think taking the Arceus is pretty good. But so is taking 3 prizes. And I'm also thinking again, like, if he wants to attack, he has to attach the double turbo. So my Duraludon is living. No, I have the boss. That, I think, is that's the thing. I'm like, well, shoot, if I just kill the Duraludon, he has to attach double turbo if he wants an attack. So it is all good. I'm in a great position. That's one of the, I don't know, funny things about Duraludon. You just, sometimes you have simple oversight, and you stop thinking about the ability and random decks that aren't necessarily relying on special energy, but do just play them. You can get a little loose with those attachments. I don't think that's what he had done here, but he did kind of respond one time like, oh, like at this moment, he's like, oh, shoot. Well, not quite. We'll actually see him try to take prizes as he tries to take this 2-shot with his Arceus. So he does completely forget about the ability. I do not. I do not at all. Yeah, I really didn't love that I played the Lumineon, but I had to, and not missing a step is a solid reason I win this game, So I'm fine with it. Especially in the early game, his deck lacking the potential to like take boss KOs until that Duraludon VMAX is down. Once again here, seeing that the Arceus V Star with the double turbo in the active, I am going to boss around the double turbo. I want to leave that double turbo, And now I've got my own Duraludon up and going. Like, I can take 220 KOs like I just outlined. So here he grabs his deck because he Novas, and I point out he went to take prizes first, and I'm like, yeah, you don't actually do any damage. I've got the Skyscraper ability. You've got the double turbo. I am good. He kind of went back to the hand, but he had announced Trinity Nova, so I said, please proceed with the Nova. You did do the Nova. You have to do the Nova in a tournament. That's a note for maybe someone listening. You announce an attack name, you are locked into attacking. There is not going back at that point. I'm going to boss KO the Arceus V so hard. That looks phenomenal to me. Now he's doing something he should have done much earlier, is accelerating basic energies onto an Arceus. Because an Arceus V-Star with 3 basic energies and a choice belt's pretty scary. It can take basic VKOs and 2-shot Duraludons. I mean, that's a weapon, but we're just too far ahead at this point. I take the boss KO. There's nothing he can do here. I don't even know what collection of cards could do it. Escape Rope, he's not taking prizes unless I promote Lumineon, which I will not. Anything I promote 2 shots, so I really don't care. Yeah, we'll call it there. So I 2-shot the V-Star, and that's it. So a good game to my opponent. It is what it is. Skyscraper is funky in the mirror. Definitely remember that for any Dura players headed into cups and stuff. All right, diving into round 4. The gentleman with the Comfy picture leads me to believe it's probably lost on something, but he could be doing that to throw me off. I believe he's going first, if I recall correctly. This is a note about these tournaments. You can't be shy to ask your opponent to readjust and really show you everything on the field. With these Webcam Wars, Ninecard and St00ben, they've got rules that need to be followed for a reason. And it looks like I'm going first. And they're pretty clear that you've got to have everything on your board visible at once. My opponent was having some issues with this, and yeah, you just can't be shy to ask that they correct and fix things. I was just rolling with it. I mean, my opponent was a homie. He said he has watched videos before, so if he sees this is a great game. This is just a note in general that yeah, we've all got to do our best to really make it so the opponent can see everything on their screen. I start the Dream. I mean, it's just Arceus energy. It's pretty simple. And against something Lost Zone, I know there's not really KO or damage coming. He heavy balls, and it's really tough to see what's kind of happening with those prizes. So at this point, I kind of asked him. I was like, "Hey, where are those prizes again?" And he's like, "Always playing heavy ball." And I'm only mixed up on that because I can't see much of anything. I tried to say, "Hey, can you move that Comfy up?" But we just weren't connecting on what the other one meant, so I'm just rolling with it. I'm taking his word for it. We made jokes about the kind of person you'd have to be to cheat in one of these, so it is what it is. I think for next time in these tournaments, I'm going to be a little more strict. There is prizing involved. The hosts are good about it. They're not relaxed, so if the hosts aren't relaxed, judges, then the players don't need to be. The players can just default to the judges' discretion there. I believe I've got the V-Star in hand, so I am straight rolling. We'll see actually more than the V-Star. The hand is pretty cracked. He ends up thinking a long time. He tells me he's got a lot of heavy ball targets. So from Comfy to Cram, you really want those in the early game. You've got tech attackers, could be Raikou, Dragonite, Zapdos, all things that you're going to want on the second or third as early as those turns. Also, it's going to take a minute to take prizes as well. So if you've got a good attacker in the prizes, the logic isn't there to say, oh, I'm going to take prizes to get this tech attacker. You might just need to do that. So he shows, unfortunately, he says, I didn't want to reveal it this early, Zapdos was the tech he took off of the prizes. He had that Galarian Zapdos. So I'm already starting to think, I've played a lot of Galarian Zapdos as an Arceus enjoyer. I mean, I've hit it before. Just going to be very, very careful with my Vs that I bench. As long as I keep 2, I don't really need to worry about it until, either it goes down with an attachment and he's going to intend to attach again, or when Mirage Gates turn live. That might not be it until turn 3, probably turn 2. He tells me the hand is really hard, and that's why we're seeing a lot of delay here. He really didn't know what he could do. The decision was between going for Comfey or Greninja. And I think in retrospect, he wishes he went Ninja. He is going to go second Comfey. That Sableye was Lost Zone from the first flower selecting. That's what the tapped Sableye is. So he reveals the Zapdos. He is going to bench it. Still deciding. I remember that. I had to ask him, hey, can you make an action? At the end of the day, there is prizing with these, and they are timed. I think somewhere in the Pokemon rulebook, people can correct me, you get about 15 seconds to make an action. There's a like an understanding with your first deck search or a couple of the first deck searches, you could take a little longer, but when you're just looking at the hand, I mean, you really can't have that long. And I'm never saying that to be a dick. I'm saying that simply from that's how it'll be upheld at larger tournaments. A stream judge will ask that, so I don't feel I'm doing anything other than asking they play how judges will enforce the game. That nest ball he mentions, that hard decision. He's going to go for Comfey. So that Zapdos hit the bench, and I remember, see here I checked the time because I'm like, come on. I would just hate to be undefeated as I am this far and then just go to like time or whatever, and maybe I hadn't even looked at standing, so I didn't know if there was like somehow another guy undefeated or and then I go 301 and I don't get first. But anyway, seeing that Zapdos hit the bench, I'm going to be looking for Choice Belt, Boss, and Lost City. If I can just Boss KO the Zapdos and mitigate it right away, just send it to the Lost Zone, pretty correct. So I've been really trying to figure out if I like Tower or Lost City as Stadium. I think Lost City is so much better than the Guardy matchup, but like I mentioned with this deck, I'm kind of wondering if I can respect Guardy a little less and just get there sometimes with Judges and my Umbreon. But I think Lost City's growing on me in these other matchups. I mean, Sablezard, it's unreal. If a Lugia plays Thornton, you can Lost Zone the Urshifu. And then here, I'm already very thankful I've got the Lost City in hand, because I'm like, I can put that Zapdos right away. His second flower selecting is the Raikou, and so again, I'm like, wow, with Lost City in hand, I'm going to be able to Lost Zone both Raikou and Zapdos on turn 1. That's pretty good. What's he left with? Maybe a Dragonite, maybe. So the hand's insane. I've got V-Star, Lost City, Choice Belt, and Boss. Single Strike Energy cannot be on not Single Strike Pokemon. So I realize, unfortunately, I do have to Starbirth for just a basic energy, but that's the one piece that gets me the KO. So the second card is, do I want second V-Star? Do I want Umbreon V, Research Judge? Not Umbreon, Duraludon. Duraludon is the better attacker into these Lost Sun matchups. The dream would be to go Arceus, Duraludon. So I remember thinking if I can grab a Duraludon V, I'd love that, but I think there's no draw supporter, so I need to grab Judge or Research for the follow-up. There I'm really trying to focus my camera. I keep struggling with this. This thing is the Amazon special. She was cheap, but it works. Pretty insane turn 1, yeah, or turn 2, I guess. I bossed that, Lost Zoned it. I'm looking good. I feel pretty good with 3 basic energies on the Arceus. I'm up 4 to 6. Surely he's not taking prizes. He conceded right there. That was the whole thing. Yeah, great games to my opponents, especially that last round. Again, very nice guy. Mentioned I really appreciate the views. Yeah, Duraludon, Umbreon, it's a serious consideration for me for cups. I didn't feel I got abnormally lucky. The Guardy matchup was just a little unlucky. I think I was there with just basic energies. So, huge consideration for me. This list is from Alex Szymanski's Substack. I highly recommend it. I think a lot of the community's on it right now. He's the man. Yeah, he just, the right mix of innovation, cool texts occasionally in really established archetypes. I'm stoked about it. I just ran with this deck after getting the article within a couple hours before the tournament, and it worked really well for me. Anyone can DM me about what I use for the streaming or whatever. I'm on like the ultimate poverty setup. It's really It's very inexpensive. I'm kind of bare bones, but it works. It definitely works. Yeah, if you end up playing Arc Dura and you want to talk about it, Cups, upcoming regionals, DM me about it. I'm open. I've been changing counts of just about everything from Discovery, Judge, Research, Colress, the Pokemon. I really like talking about it, and I think it'd be a great play for Hartford. We'll see for Milwaukee. I may still be on it by then. But yeah, please come say hey if I see any of y'all at tournaments, and I'll see you in the next one.